Hello again. If I heard of people living in Ireland who were made uneasy by the sight of the green, white, and gold tricolour, which is the national flag of the Republic, then I would probably assume that such people shouldn't be living there. If you see the Irish flag as menacing and dislike seeing it, then what on earth are you doing in Ireland? In the same way, those living in Sweden who fear the Swedish flag, or those in the United States who regard the stars and stripes with loathing, might prefer to relocate and go and live in a country whose flag they do like. I'm bound to say that I'm beginning to feel pretty much the same about people in this country who dislike England's national flag, that is to say, the Cross of St George. Before going any further, I am, of course, perfectly well aware that the English flag has been used by unpleasant people for dubious purposes. The same, of course, applies to every other flag in the world. Some pretty unappetizing characters have used the Irish flag, the French flag, one thinks of Marshal Pétain and the Vichy regime, and of course the Italian flag, under which Mussolini and his fascists marched. None of this affects the flag or paints any of them. In the same way, the English flag is still a proud symbol of the English nation, whether or no it was waved by football hooligans in the past. In the description to this video, I give a link to a newspaper article in which various people explain why they dislike, fear, or are made uneasy by or resent the sight of the English flag being displayed publicly in England. To speak candidly, I have little or no use for such people. If they feel that way about my flag, I am forced to ask myself how they feel about my country. We are told in the article that these people, and I quote, are bearing the brunt of a return of ugly racism reminiscent of the 1970s and 1980s when the Union flag was adopted as a symbol by the far-right National Front Party and the St George's flag was embraced by extreme right-wing groups. Embraced by extreme right-wing groups. As I say, the green, white, and red flag of Italy was certainly embraced by the most right-wing of groups, the original fascists, for over 20 years, from 1922 until 1943. Does that really mean that anybody in Italy now feels uncomfortable about the national flag? If any do, then I venture to suggest that they are not really Italian at all and should probably go and live elsewhere. I think that many of us feel that we have bent over backwards long enough now and made all the accommodations which we are prepared to make for the strangers within our gates. But nothing is ever enough. Now we reach a point at which we are told that our very flag is offensive to immigrants and foreigners, and for some of us that's likely to be the sticking point, the time when we say no, no further retreat is possible. If we do not do so, then we might just as well surrender our whole identity now. Say simply that the English nation no longer exists and that as a consequence we don't really need a flag anymore. I have not yet reached that point, and nor am I likely to do so in the future. Let those who cannot stomach the sight of our national flag reflect a little on what they are feeling and consider the implications of what they are saying. I think that they should weigh their words carefully and think a little before speaking out in this way. There is still an English nation, and we have a flag which is a symbol of that nation. It would probably be unwise to push the English any further and encourage them to abandon their flag. I don't think that's going to lead to anywhere particularly pleasant.